Okay, so real quick, if you clicked on this video, there's a good chance you're already asking the question, should I hire a virtual assistant? And look, I'm going to answer that, but I want to do something a little different first. Because most people who are asking that question, they're actually asking the wrong question. And by the end of this, you're going to understand what I mean. Stick with me here. Welcome back. I'm Kevin, part of the ProSulum team, and this lesson is called Should I Hire a Virtual Assistant? And I want you to think of this less like a lecture and more like you and me sitting down and having a really honest conversation about your business. Because here's the thing. I talk to business owners every single week, all kinds of industries. Digital agencies, financial advisors, real estate guys, restaurant operators, healthcare practices, like across the board. And almost every single one of them, they all have the same problem. And they know they have a problem. They can't quite put their finger on what it is. So let me just say it out loud, okay? You're working harder than you've ever worked in your life. And you look up one day and you're like, wait, why does it still feel like I'm behind? Why does my inbox look like a war zone? Why am I the one answering the same customer question for the 14th time this week? Like, you started this business to have freedom, right? Or to, build something that actually runs without you having to babysit every single moving piece. And instead you've become the chief everything officer. You're doing the sales, you're doing the operations, you're doing customer support, you're doing content, you're doing the bookkeeping. Maybe not all of it, but you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I mean. Here's what's really going on, and this is the thing nobody talks about. You're not bad at business. You're not lazy, you're not disorganized necessarily. What's happening is that you've hit a very specific ceiling, and that ceiling has a name. It's called the owner dependency trap. That's where everything in your business, every decision, every process, every client interaction, it flows through you. And look, that works for a while, like it works when you're small, but at some point, your bandwidth becomes the bottleneck. Your time becomes the constraint on your own growth. And here's the wild part. Most business owners, they don't even realize this is happening until it's already cost them. It cost them opportunities, it cost them clients who fell through the cracks, it cost them weekends, it cost them their sanity, honestly. So in this lesson, here's what we're going to cover. We're going to go through the real signs that tell you it's time, not just the obvious ones that everybody talks about. We're going to look at the actual math because the numbers might surprise you. And then, and this is the part I'm most excited about, we're going to talk about something that goes way beyond just hiring a virtual assistant. Because a regular VA and what we do at ProSulum, those are very different things. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly why that matters. Let's get into it. All right, so let's talk about signs. And I don't mean the obvious stuff, like you're working too many hours. Everybody knows that. I want to go a little deeper. Because the real signs, the ones that actually tell you it's time, they're a little sneakier than that. Sign number 1. You are the single point of failure in your own business. Think about that for a second. If you disappeared for 2 weeks, like phone off, totally off the grid, what happens? Does the business run, or does everything grind to a halt? If the answer is everything stops, that's the sign. That means you haven't built a business, you've built a job, and a really demanding one at that. Sign number 2. You're spending more than about 3 hours a day on tasks that literally anyone else could do. I mean, think about your last Monday. How much of it was you doing stuff that required your specific expertise, your relationships, your judgment, your vision? And how much of it was responding to emails, scheduling things, following up with people who didn't respond, data entry, like the kind of stuff that, if you're being honest, a well-trained 16-year-old could probably handle. That's not a knock on you. That's the math. Every hour you spend on low-value tasks is an hour you're not spending on the stuff that actually grows the business. Sign number 3, your customer experience is starting to slip. And this one hurts because usually you don't notice it until it's already done damage. Leads not being followed up with fast enough, clients not getting responses within a reasonable window, little things falling through the cracks. And the reason isn't that you don't care, it's that you literally don't have enough bandwidth. You're doing everything. Sign number 4. You've started saying no to growth opportunities because you're already overwhelmed. This is a big one. Like, has a potential partnership crossed your desk and you thought, man, I would love to do that, but I just don't have the capacity right now. Or you've got ideas for content, for marketing, for new revenue streams, and they live in a notebook somewhere because you never have time to actually execute them. That's a sign. That's your business telling you something. And sign number 5, and this is the one most people won't admit out loud, you've started resenting your business a little bit, like just a little, just enough that Sunday evenings feel heavier than they used to. That's not a character flaw, that's a systems problem, and it has a solution. Now let's talk money, because I think a lot of people avoid hiring help because of the cost. And I get it, I understand. But here's the thing. Let me show you what not hiring actually costs. Research from earlier this year shows that businesses are losing on average about $78,000 a year in what's called lost productivity and opportunity cost. $78,000, not because of some disaster, just from inefficiency, just from the owner doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. Now compare that to the actual cost of a virtual assistant. A full-time in-house employee in the US, when you factor in salary, payroll taxes, benefits, all that, you're looking at $82,000 a year, minimum, for a decent admin role. A qualified virtual assistant, you're looking at a fraction of that. And at ProSalum, we'll get into exactly what we do in a minute, but it's significantly less than what an in-house hire costs, like roughly half, sometimes less. And here's the other thing people miss. They think of hiring help as an expense. But think about it this way. If hiring someone frees you up to do 20 more hours of the revenue-generating work only you can do, and let's say your time is worth even $100 an hour, that's $2,000 a week in value, per week. That's the math you should be doing. Not can I afford this, it's can I afford not to.
Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. When most people hear virtual assistant, they have a very specific picture in their head. Someone who handles their calendar, responds to emails, maybe does some data entry. And look, that's fine. That has value. But here at ProSalum, we've built something fundamentally different. And I want you to understand why that difference matters. We call ours VSAs, Virtual Systems Architects. And the reason is because what they do goes way beyond just task execution. The core idea is this. Every single task your VSA takes on, they document it. They build the system around it. So you're not just delegating tasks, you're building a business that can eventually run without you having to be in every little corner of it. There's actually a framework we use called Document, Replicate, Scale. And that's really the whole philosophy in 3 words. Here's how it works in practice. You record a quick 5-minute video of yourself doing something, a process, a workflow, anything. Your VSA watches it. They document it, word for word, with screenshots, with the exact thought process. And then they do it. So you've effectively cloned yourself. You've taken something that lived only in your head and you've turned it into a repeatable system that someone else can own and execute. And here's the thing, you do that enough times and suddenly your business isn't dependent on you for every little thing anymore. That ceiling we talked about, it just disappears. Let me give you some real examples because I think this is where it really clicks. We had a content creator, guy runs a YouTube channel, really successful, mortgage niche. He was managing over 100 YouTube comments a day, 300 referral requests every month, 30 text conversations daily, all while trying to, actually make content. He was drowning, classic creator dilemma. So we matched him with a VSA. And within 3 days, I want you to hear that, within 3 days, his VSA was independently handling complex mortgage-related YouTube comments, not with a script, with actual understanding. That freed him up to go create, which is the only thing he should have been doing all along.
Or take a financial services client of ours. When they started, they had 62 clients. Within 6 months of working with a VSA who was handling the operational side, the documentation, the client communication systems, they scaled to 215 clients. Same owner, same hours, completely different capacity. We had a restaurant franchise operator running a $15 million operation managed by a single VSA because the systems were so dialed in. That's the power of documentation done right. And one more. An e-commerce owner, Steven, within 30 days of starting with Prosulum, total sales up 251%, profit up 450%. Not because we have some magic formula, but because when you remove the right bottlenecks, when the owner can focus on what actually moves the needle, things compound fast. Now, a few things I want to mention because they're actually super useful. If you're not sure where your business stands operationally, we built a free 2-minute assessment at quiz.myprosulum.com. It'll give you a systematization score, tell you where your bottlenecks are, and show you how many hours and dollars you're losing every week. Takes literally 2 minutes. 2,800 business owners have taken it. It's worth doing. We also have a free SOP generator at instant.myprosulum.com. You type in any task you do more than once, it spits out a professional, formatted standard operating procedure, like in 60 seconds. No screen recording, no complicated setup. Just describe what you do, get a document back. And if you want to go deeper on the system side, like actually learn the whole framework, there's a free 4-video course at systemizin5.com. It'll walk you through how to automate, delegate, and outsource so that your business can scale without you being in every single thing. All free. Worth bookmarking all 3 of those.
All right, let's bring this home. Let me recap what we've covered because I want this to really land before you go. We started with the real problem. And it's not that you're working too hard. It's that you've become the ceiling of your own business. Everything runs through you, every decision, every process, every fire to put out. And that model works until it doesn't. And if you've been feeling that friction lately, that's your signal. We talked about the 5 real signs, the single point of failure, the 3 or more hours a day on low-value tasks, the customer experience starting to slip, the growth opportunities you're saying no to, and that quiet resentment that shows up on Sunday evenings. If any of those hit home, you already know the answer. We broke down the math. The hidden cost of not hiring, $78,000 a year in lost productivity on average. The real cost of an in-house hire versus what a VSA actually runs. And the real question isn't, can I afford help? It's, how much is it costing me not to have it? And then we got into what makes a VSA different from a regular virtual assistant. It's the document, replicate, scale framework. It's the fact that every task your VSA takes on becomes a system you own. It's not just someone doing stuff for you. It's someone systematically removing you from the parts of your business that don't need you, so you can focus on the parts that do. Now, here's the deal. If you've been watching this and nodding along, if this hit a nerve, if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, this is literally me, I want to invite you to take one small next step. Not a commitment, not a pitch, just a conversation. Click the link in the description below. You'll be able to book a free discovery call with our team at Prosulum. And on that call, we're not going to try to sell you anything. I mean that. It's literally just a conversation to understand what's going on in your business, where the bottlenecks are, and whether a VSA actually makes sense for your situation. Because honestly, it's not the right fit for everybody, and we'd rather tell you that upfront than waste your time. But if it is a fit, if you're the kind of owner who's ready to stop being the bottleneck and start building something that can actually scale, a VSA could change the trajectory of your business faster than almost anything else you could do right now. We work across more than 40 industries. Our VSAs have a 97% retention rate after 1 year, which is the highest in the industry. 98% of our clients are still with us after 12 months. And every single VSA goes through a 6-tier vetting process. Only about 3 out of every 100 applicants ever make it through.
So when you get matched with a VSA at Prosulum, you're getting someone who's already proven they can execute at a high level. There's a full 30-day money-back guarantee, no risk. So again, links in the description, book the call, see what's possible, no pressure. All right, that's it for this one. If this was helpful, do me a favor, share it with another business owner who needs to hear it. There are a lot of people out there who are one good decision away from getting their time back. I'll see you in the next one.